right, everybody, fix your hair. We're recording. Thank you for the reminder. All right, so a lot to cover today. Again, we're going to kind of go over some of the celebrations that happened at the summit. Very excited for that. Talk about the new project, talk about our new contract, the MOA, a couple changes to our processes, including our template emails, a new process for scheduling. We heard some of the pains from the past couple of years with the way we were scheduling, and came up with a new way to eliminate some of those pains and make things a little bit smoother. Some changes in the way we're going to share updates. Stacey's going to share with us information about the upcoming summit again in Columbus. That's going to be coming up here in September. And then we have some additional announcements as well. And then as always, some time for question and answer. So I am going to turn it over to Janet to get us started.
Yeah, so I get the fun part. We are going to I love this picture with a giant koala bear in the background, but we are going to celebrate winning the organization of the year. And we're going to celebrate Yolanda winning the adult instructor of the year. And we're going to celebrate Keith and Donna winning the Ohio instructors of the year. So lots of celebration going on. And I was so jealous about not getting to go to California and getting their award and hanging out with all the other instructors across the country. But as far as I know, 8 of us did go to California. And so I just want to open the floor to them just to see if you guys have any real quick, what was it like to be there? What was it like when they announced the award? Were you surprised? Like any of the feedback that you guys have from being there in person in California?
I'm not sure. I think I might be the only person on here today who might have went to California. But when I tell you guys, if you have never been to the NatCom or the conference like that, you must attend. I mean, it was like a movie. It was absolutely spectacular. I can't even talk about how well they did this, the presentations, the section of the awards, like everything was phenomenal. How they represent or recognize us was amazing. But it was over probably 3,000 something people at this conference, the national conference. So it was humongous. Good networking. I met so many people. I mean, the information, the presentations, Rob Lowe was there for all who like Rob Lowe. He was our opening speaker on that Monday, but the conference itself was fantastic. So if you've never been, you need to make sure you go to a NatCon conference. And that mental health, even the Sunday, even though people were thinking like no one's going to be here on a Sunday, when I tell you guys, it was jam packed full of people for the whole entire conference. So California was not warm, but it was still beautiful.
Oh, surprising. And I don't know if you've heard, but next NatCon is going to be in St. Louis, which is not that far from Ohio. So in my head, I'm thinking we're going to get a bus. We're going to go in vans. Like we'll have a ton of people go to St. Louis next year. And Yolanda, I don't think they released a date for that. Did they, or is that to be announced?
I want to say they did. It's going to be in May again.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be around the same time frame. Okay. Like April, May-ish. Yeah.
I'll go back
and look it up and send it out to you to make sure.
That would be great. And the thing about there's a MHFA day, which is the day before the summit, and which is free to everybody. So if you just want to go to that day, it's free. But the NatCon is the next 3 days, and that's, I don't know, that was expensive. Like, how much was that, Yolanda? Do you remember? Like $700 or $800, something like that.
For the conference?
For NatCon, yeah.
Oh no, it was like 12, maybe 1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was expensive. And that was just for the conference. That did not include the hotel. Like the hotel was probably another maybe $700. Like it was not a cheap conference at all. I will admit that. But I will see, based on, once again, the representation at the conference and how they did it, it explained on why it cost so much. I mean, it was probably 30 breakout sessions every hour. Like it was all day. It was definitely well put together, but it's not cheap.
And Carrie, you were there, so we thought maybe Yolanda was the only person there, but I saw a comment pop up in the chat. So what was your takeaway from the event in California?
I have a very different perspective, I think, than a lot of people, because I am a psychologist, and I go to conferences a lot. And so for me, it was adjusting to it being very different from the very large research conferences I usually go to. The types of presentations and the quality and things that were offered are different than what I'm used to. So there were some that were really quite valuable and very interesting. And then there were other things where I was like, oh, there seems like a lot of opportunity here for motivated, intelligent people to up the game on what is being offered at NatCon. My biggest takeaway was, how many different presentation submissions do I want to give for next year? Because I think that we can present things better.
Good.
There are NatCon, and I had a conversation with several national people about it, because they're like, why? I work at VA, and they're like, why isn't VA here? And it's like, because no one knows about this. This is not a highlight. It's not on the radar of psychologists, social workers, psychiatrists, and VA staff, or others like that, really. And so there were, for example, there was a paucity of anything really speaking to veterans and veteran suicide. And when I looked at the presentations that were done, even around suicide prevention, I was like, I could have put something better together myself, a whole panel of people. So I just have a lot of ideas in my head that would make up the level of everything.
Yeah.
And there were a couple people there that presented that were really incredible. And I'm like, man, if everyone was like this would be just absolutely banging in the intensity of what was offered. So if you do put together a presentation and it is accepted, they do have you register for the whole conference. And the registration was only $450 for me for the entire thing, because they give you a presenter discount. So that makes it be much more approachable. Even though that's still expensive, that's really lower than like APA and other things. That's very reasonable. And then I got, because I was presenting on the veterans and the military and veterans and their families pilot, and we had done some of it in VA, I got VA to fund me for the whole thing. So I didn't spend a dime.
Nice. Well, we will be sure to put the call to proposals out, which I think is usually early in the year, if not later in 2023. So because we have so many smart people at our instructors and our team, like we really could do a lot of presenting for this upcoming conference in St. Louis. So thanks for that thought.
And if I can add, I will say, when she talked about it being different topics, when I tell you there were so many different topics. And so I don't think they were trying to just reach the mental health field in the sense of mental health first aid. Like they had trainings on the legal information about taxes for housing, for people who are doing, because CCBH is now getting into housing for homeless, or for people who need housing situation. So they had a whole financial track. And so when I tell you anything you can think about, in my opinion, they offer. Like they had TED Talks, and they had every hour or so they had TED Talks, people talking about different topics. So it's definitely a place where someone wants to present some information. You can go for sure. Good. And present.
That should be our goal. And I like Jay. I'm looking at the chat, and Jay says we should brainstorm some ideas and we could do about a bunch of presentations. So I think that's a great idea. Yes, Marianne, you can attend part of it for partial fees, as far as I know. And I think we should all go stay at Lisa Everson's hometown and her family house. We'll just all show up and hang out with Lisa. Anyhow, still thrilled that we got it. Still getting emails, congratulations from all over the place. And we're just, so proud of this project, of each one of you guys, for how you contributed and just the huge difference you're making in people's lives. So congratulations to everybody. All right, I'm next too, right, Bridget?
You are, yep.
All right, so very quickly, we have been working on a new logo, mostly because the original Mental Health First Aid Collaboratives, Mental Health America of Ohio. And since they decided not to be part of this upcoming project, we basically went back to M. Hankey Swo as being the lead. So you'll see this new, we're going to call ourselves the MHFA Collaborative, with the thought being, we have projects in Northern Kentucky and all the state of Ohio. We have team projects just in the Cincinnati area. So whatever comes across our plate that we will get to in the future, or that we already did in the past, that MHFA collaborative should cover all of our projects. So we don't have to have MHFA Ohio, MHFA Northern Kentucky. We're just going to be the collaborative. And whatever projects we tackle, it's going to go under that one logo. So much, much simpler than the way we used to do it. We took out the word statewide because nobody else was claiming this MHFA collaborative. So we thought that was pretty, like we were just going to make it as simple as possible. You should see this logo on all of our stuff. So we're in the process of transitioning to the old logos to this logo. So hopefully if you notice the old logo, let us know and we'll change it. And I hope you guys like it. Hopefully we're going to do a signature line after May mental health month is done. And then we'll share it with you guys just in case you want to add it to your signature line as an instructor. And then I'm supposed to talk about our new project. So we have kind of two. We have a 4-month project that we're supposed to train 1,200 people for under OMOS. And I think we've already trained, and Lucas, correct me if I'm wrong, we're probably around 70% above of what, we're above the 50% mark of what we were supposed to do. So we're kind of ahead of that 1,200, right, Lucas?
Yeah, we're a touch under 900 people trained so far.
Yeah, so 900, 1,200, and this one ends June 30th. So it's all, and May's a big, you guys have been teaching a lot. It's a mental health month. May, we're expecting a lot of classes. So, and then the big project starts July 1st. And that's because OMOS's fiscal year, and they can't really go between fiscal years, but this big project is the longest project we've ever had. It's 2 years, and it's the most money we've ever had. It's the most number of people we're supposed to train, and that's 7,200 people. So as of July 1st, we're going to train 7,200 people minimum in the next 2 years. We're also going to train 20 new instructors, but we're not going to add instructors until January 2024, because we want to get all the 109 instructors we've trained in the past 3 years up and going. And Bridget's going to show you like a little cool career path. So we want to get all those instructors really, really comfortable before we add these new 20. So probably January, we're going to start taking, we're already taking applications for people that are interested for us to pay for their $2,000. There's an application link. So I'm seeing people come in all the time. But we're not going to pick, we're probably going to pick maybe 2 a month and just kind of like slowly add them to our project, because it's a lot of time, and, like we really want to support them well to get them going well. Is there any questions on the new projects, the timeline, the new instructors, the new logo, the new name? I just want to call out the project team, because we've been working on this for now 3 or 4 months now, just to try to get prepared for today. Like today was the day we had to get everything tweaked. Mm-hmm. So big shout out to the project team to really look at what have we been doing, what can we tweak, what can we improve, and then we're just, you'll see what we're worked on as of this meeting today. So I hope it goes over very well. It's a lot. All right, Bridget, I'm done.
All right. So on that, thank you, Janet. So in that same tone, so there's always a lot of moving parts, as all of you know, with our project team and with this project, because we are grant funded, we are a nonprofit. This is the world in which we live in. So Beth actually came up with the idea, which is a fabulous idea. Can we try to make this easier for people and have a 1-page reference guide for people and a little infographic? And Kathy kind of came up with this, put it all together so beautifully. So this is really just a quick 1-page reference sheet for you to figure out who are the people on the project team now, because again, it's forever changing. This is on the Trello board. Just kind of gives you an idea about who is what, who are the coordinators, who works with what particular population, and where does everybody fit into all of this. You're going to notice that under Lucas, or kind of tied to Lucas, there's a new finance person here named Julia Schuster, and I'm going to talk about her momentarily, but otherwise everybody should be relatively familiar to you, but this is hopefully a little bit helpful for you, just in understanding where everybody fits in to the project. In all of this. So the next thing I want to go over though with you is the new contract, the new MOA. So I'm going to actually pull this up for you, and this is going to be effective. So our current contract is going to be in place and effective until June 30th, actually. And then starting July 1st, of course, the new MOA is the one we're going to be operating under. But I want to go over that today, the new one, so that you're aware of it. And I apologize, I can't make this any larger because I'm using it from the web page, but everybody will have access to this, of course. Just to kind of go over this again, here's our dates. It's going to be effective July 1st through June 30th of 25. I want to highlight some of the differences from last year's contract, or from the previous contract to the current contract. And Janet, feel free to chime in, or anybody else feel free to chime in if I say anything incorrect or inaccurate. The first one is, of course, it is effective until one or both parties provides a 30-day written notice that that is no longer, they want it canceled. Just to kind of be aware of that new addition in there. Both parties are still committing to fulfilling those outcomes of mental health first aid, which are all still here. You're going to fill this out as either an individual or on behalf of your organization, same as before. Whichever one you fill out is going to open up different boxes on the bottom, but essentially the information is going to look the same. Again, and some of you may still want to, just as before, fill out two contracts, one for yourself and one for your organization. That's fine. If you do that though, same as before, we still need another W-9 for your organization and for yourself, whichever one. We need one for each of those. But as I go through,
I just thought about something, Bridget. So the last contract, you as the organization could say, here's the 10 instructors that teach under our umbrella. But this contract, what we want is that each individual contractor fills them out. So if you're OSU and you're contracting with us and you have 15 instructors, we should have 15 MOAs signed by the individual telling us that, yes, I'm under this contract. So that's a little different this time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for clarifying. So instead of having the invitation to join the network that collects a lot of other data, it's all going to be on this one page, which is one of the reasons why everybody needs to fill out the MOA. Because part of this is where we're going to be collecting that extra background data also. So yeah, thank you for clarifying that, Janet. So who is receiving the payment? Again, is it you as the individual? Is it your organization? That's what we need to know. Where are we mailing the check to? Just make sure that's on here. Make sure this is what corresponds with your W-9. Whatever information says on there is what needs to match on this line. Instructor information, pretty straightforward, your email. But again, we know that your email that you want us to communicate with you with may be different than what is listed on NHFA Connect. That's fine. And in an ideal world, they're both the same, but we know it may not be. But please make sure we know what is in Connect for you. Because if we are creating courses for you or helping you with enrolling users, we need to know this. This is going to be helpful. As you're going through and sharing your certifications, what we're asking for is, what are you certified in 2.0? If you had been previously certified in pre-2020, the public safety, fire, EMS, that's great. But what we're asking for is, what are you certified in this new material? Because as you know, we're no longer, we're not able to deliver those old supplements. So we want to know 2.0 and forward. That's what we're asking for here. How many classes have you taught? When are you generally wanting to teach? Weekends, weekdays, evenings, which weekdays? And if you click on this, you'll get the option to enter in your days. What is your home address? We are going to mail the manuals to your home. Where do you want those mailed to? Or if there's someplace else, where do you want to mail to? Because we're not going to mail them to the organization. We're going to mail them to you as the instructor. And then you can take them with you to the site. What county do you reside? This isn't country. Every once in a while we get USA in there. We're looking for county there. What counties or regions do you want to travel to? Again, we're still going to reimburse for mileage. So what are those counties or regions that you are available to travel to? Where do you currently work? Again, this is helpful because if you work with older adults and we have a training that comes up for older adults, that may be, you may be a great fit for that population. So that just helps us with that Here we're looking for if you are in that community or if you serve that community. Do note, obviously you may have more than one of these checked, but do note that you can't, let's say you are in a faith-based organization yourself and you serve that community, you can't click both. You can only click one or the other. It's fine. Just click one or the other. It's okay. But you can check more than one of them, just so you're aware. In terms of what you're agreeing to, then what is the end, what is the piece of the contractor on your end that you're agreeing to? Same thing as before. Number one, you're going to execute mental health first aid with fidelity, just as you always had. Number two, same as before, you're going to work with the coordinators and the host to provide that excellent customer service on both ends to both parties, as you had been. Number three kind of teases out the role of the lead instructor and what that looks like. So there is actually there has always been a core competency form and a document that outlines the role of the lead instructor, but this also the contract highlights some of those higher level responsibilities. And then I'll also refer you to the core competency form where it shows you more of the responsibilities of the lead instructor that you are agreeing to, but that you will reach out to the co-instructor to set up the logistics prior to the course, that you will reach out to the host coordinator or the host supervisor to review logistics to set up the course, that you will send out the template emails to set up, that you will create the course, enroll users if it's a youth class, or work with the coordinator for an adult class, that you will update the attendance, submit the roster to the coordinator within 48 hours of the class, ensuring that the numbers match and connect and what the attendance roster says, and that you will forward the course invoice to National, from National to Lucas after you verified that the number of seats match what you said was in Connect on the attendance sheet, and that there are no taxes listed, and that you clean that invoice up before you send it to Lucas. And by clean up, I mean you submit a request assistance form to National first saying this needs corrected or that needs corrected or whatever, and then you send it to National, get that piece closed up. I will share with you just very quickly where you can find that core competency form also that I mentioned to further find that role of the lead instructor. I can find it here. Of course, I had it up and now I can't find it. Okay, it is on the Trello board, but I'll show you. But again, it's here on, hopefully this looks relatively familiar. If you just scroll down, this has kind of the role of the lead and the role of the co-instructor, what that looks like for both parties. That is there. So going back to the MOA then. Pull that up. Okay. So the other thing that the contractor is agreeing to is to stay involved, to attend the instructor gathering meetings. I will say we are going to be instituting a new program, a new piece of technology, I guess if you will, called Ed Puzzle. So for those folks that are unable to attend the instructor gatherings, we'll always have the recordings available. We're now going to have a checkoff sheet available and process that we will have in place that coordinators will review prior to assigning classes to instructors. You got to attend these instructor gathering meetings and or watch the recordings in order to be able to be assigned classes. And the reason for that is because obviously we're trying to keep everybody up to date with all of any and all of the changes that are happening that are, again, just inherent to any program like this. That's just forever changing. That's why we have them, right? We want the instructors to remain engaged. We are going to have our summit. Of course, that's not mandatory, but the instructor gatherings are. And we do certainly still offer those learning opportunities through the lunch and learns and different engagements throughout the year, throughout the project. We are going to ask that you as the contractor use a new scheduling board that we're going to be talking about. Janet's going to introduce us to that in just a bit. that you continue to use the Instructor Support Program Board or Trello board that we also used to call it the Trello board. That's where you're going to see updates now. Big spoiler alert, Connect team is going to be leaving. So that's where you're going to start receiving updates is now on this support Trello board. Again, we'll kind of talk about this a bit more. Number 5, this is where we're talking about this ongoing advocacy for mental health first aid. Going to continue doing the host organization process. That referral form is still going to be there. That extra $100 is still there. We still have the opportunity to refer folks to a class if you have less than 30. That is through the ohiomhfa.org. So through the website, you can direct folks there. That process is still in place. In terms of the host organization, again, just as a reminder, that $100 is by organization. It's not by number of classes that they hold. So if you have an organization that has 90 people and they need 3 classes, you only get the $100 once. They have to have taught, they have to have not ever been trained by our project over the past 3 years that we've had our project running. So that's just something to clarify. Number 6, this pertains to people who have been trained under our contract. So if you got trained, if you received your adult or youth certification through us, and we paid for your training, this is number 6 pertains to that. What we're asking for those folks that get trained under our project moving forward is that they bring a hosted class to us, that they bring one hosted class to us. They're going to continue. We're going to continue to ask that they teach those first 3 classes at no cost. Again, that's kind of that payback and that reciprocation for the fee of their instructor training. If those items are not met, if those 2 items are not met, we are going to ask for a payback of 25%, which is $500 of the certification fee. So if we don't get the host referral form, if we don't get the hosted class, that referral made, or that the 3 classes are not taught, we are going to ask for that $500. Then I will say, for those folks that were trained and brought on and trained in the last project under the last contract, obviously you're not held to the host referral, but we are going to ask that piece about still needing to teach your 3 classes at no cost is going to carry over. That piece is going to carry through into this next contract. And we're happy to answer any questions about that.
And just to be clear, that $500 is just for the 20 new instructors we're going to start adding in 2024. So it doesn't apply to anybody in this current project.
Yeah, thank you for
I
clarifying.
don't want to freak anybody out.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying, Janet. So the only thing that's carrying over is just if you still have straggling classes that you haven't taught yet, and we paid for your certification, you still need to get those 3 classes in. Just so you're aware. But we're not, that $500 really only applies to the new folks coming in. Again, you'll continue to work with the instructor support specialist then, not only before you teach, which all of you have done that, but also then when you're ready to become a lead instructor. So for those of you that, again, if you're ready to become a lead instructor, reach out to me and let me know. We want you to begin to teach, we want to kind of move you towards that next phase. And I will tell you, one of our goals for the project for this year is to help people move from, you've gone, where'd it go? You're newly, we want people to move through this. Is, Janet mentioned this idea of a career path. This is what we want the career path to look like. You're newly certified. We want you to do your 3 classes with a mentor, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment because it is tied into the contract. We want you to be ready to lead and be able to start leading, take on that role of lead instructor. And we want you to become a mentor. And then we want you to become the instructor of the year. We want you to be right up there with Yolanda, hanging out and with Keith and with Donna. That's what we're looking for here. That's how we want to support you in that way. So again, kind of I digressed a bit, my apologies. All right, let's get back to this. So back then, so I mentioned, about this idea of the mentor. So I'm always still here to offer that support. We also have under 6.5 here, we have this mentorship program that we've had this master instructor program in place for a while. We're shifting it a bit more to change the title to call it more of a mentorship program. And basically what it's going to look like, some similarities, some differences. Essentially we're going to just be a little bit more intentional about matching up newer folks particularly for those first 3 classes, with mentor instructors, to offer them support and get them up and ready to go. They're going to actually follow a checklist when they're working with a newly certified instructor. To kind of walk through and make sure that they've taught every section, and that they're getting usable feedback and usable support when they talk with them. There's a whole process for becoming a mentor. Admission, I guess, or I don't want to say criteria, or how do you become a mentor then? You have to still have taught 15 classes as lead under this project. That's still one of those criteria. So it's very similar to the master instructor. You still have to follow that application process. There is a rubric on the Trello board. It actually is the same one that we used for the master program. So some similarities there. In terms of number 8, this speaks to, again, this teen mental health first aid program. If those of you are not aware, we do have, there is grant funding for the Cincinnati area for teen mental health first aid. And the contract for this reads that those folks that are certified under our project will teach 6 sessions at no cost. They will at no payment. And if they do not do those 6 classes, they will be responsible for paying back 25% of that cost of the training, which is again $425. And then they'll continue to teach with the support from the lead instructor, and work alongside the coordinator to deliver that teen mental health first aid program. Number 9 speaks to turning in the monthly invoice every month by the 5th of the month. So here's where we have, I mentioned earlier, we have a new person, it's Julia, when we were talking about the invoicing process. And I do want to pull up a little picture here for you, just because I'm a visual learner, this kind of helps me. And you can use this if it's helpful for you as well. But we are changing who's getting what. Moving forward, just so you're kind of aware. And again, Lucas, here's his smiling face. Lucas still gets the invoices from National Council. Once you correct them, the lead instructor corrects them, make sure they're right, that there's no taxes. Lucas gets them to that email.
Hey, Bridget,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but I'm still seeing the MOA, so I don't know if you have to get
Thank you
out
for
and
letting
then
me know.
share. Yeah.
All
it's
right, thank you
weird
for
that
letting me
way.
know. Okay, I appreciate it. So did you see my goal, my career path slide then? Maybe
No,
not.
We did not
it
yet.
was so pretty. I loved it, but no. we didn't
Bummer.
see it.
That's all right. All right. Well, do we see the Lucas's smiling face here now?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. All right. Darn. Thank you. I'll show it again later. All right. So Lucas is still getting the National Council invoices. Julia now, she has this cute little picture with a dog, which was so lovely. So finance@mhankyswo.org, she is now getting our monthly invoices. So again, this is as an instructor, every instructor, whether you're the lead or the co, you want to get paid. So all of us are turning this one in. It's just now going to finance@mhankyswo.org. It's due by the 5th of the month. If you want to get paid, this is who you send it to, right? If you're the lead, you got to do both. But if you're the lead and the co, or if you're the co, obviously you're just doing this one to Julia. So again, this can be just kind of a little reminder for you, if this is helpful. So a little bit of a shift in how we are doing that process.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So the invoice that you showed, the picture of the invoice,
Yes.
that comes from the National Council, I really never see those invoices. Like I get maybe one or so every blue moon, but
Okay.
typically I never see those. They never come to my email.
Okay, so you won't, for a fully in-person class, you won't get one.
Okay, great.
And I
great.
wonder if maybe you're teaching a lot of fully in person.
I am.
Yeah,
I
so
am,
then
yeah,
you
okay.
really only get them. Is that correct, Lucas? Or I'm sorry, fully in person really won't generate one. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Fully in person, they won't, you won't get an invoice for that. And you just need to make sure that you're checking the email that is whatever's connected to your Connect account, because that's where everything is going to get sent.
There you go. Thank you. Good question. All right, so the last thing then here on what are you agreeing to then as the contractor on number 10, again, that you're going to fill out this contract. Come July 1st, if you haven't filled out this contract, you can't teach with us. We have to have these contracts filled out. We have to have these in place. We also have to have your W-9 uploaded right here. We got to have that. We're also asking this year for the resumes to be uploaded because there's organizations that want CEs to apply for those. It just makes it more streamlined and we don't have to keep kind of going back and asking people for the resumes. If we just do it all right now, there are times where different organizations have asked and are needing background checks as well. We're not asking for that right up front, but just be aware that that may come up. That may be an ask of you. Again, you're independently contracted, though you don't have to accept that particular class if you don't want to. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But just know that that may come up. And then what do we agree to do on our end? Again, we will continue to offer that support of the coordinator. They go out, they offer that, do the marketing, coordinate the courses. For the adult courses, they're going to enroll the users, create the course, enroll the users, turn that class over to you 2 weeks out. And then the instructor support specialist 1.2, we continue to still offer you that support. I'm going to continue to send out those debriefing forms to you and review those, review your evaluations from national that instructors or that participants are submitting. I'm still reviewing those and reaching out and offering support if I can, and if that comes up. In terms of payment, so our fee schedule is a little bit different this year moving forward. So I do want to draw your attention to this. So 2.1, the first one on here, if you have a blended course, if it is virtual or blended in person, it's 400, 200. So that looks about the same. If it is a fully in-person class, though, it's going to be 500, 300, kind of to account for that extra time that's spent for that fully in-person piece. There is an additional $300 per class if you are a mentor. Again, those folks, and just to kind of be aware, those folks that are current master instructors are going to kind of automatically have the opportunity to be mentor instructors. We are going to open up that application process and invite other instructors to apply to become mentors as well, just so you're kind of aware. There is. Oh, go ahead.
Can I jump in? So it's not $300 every time you teach. Like right now, the master instructors get $100 bump every time they teach. But as of July 1st, you'll get the $300 bump, but only when you're teaching with a new instructor that's part of their 3 free classes. That's how we can afford it. And the $300 really is not just the time that you're teaching, but the time that we're asking you to meet with them before and after and to fill out the forms, like how are they doing and what do we need to work on with them. And so it's a little different. So the master instructors that every time you teach, you get $100 extra, that's going to go away as of June 30th. And this is going to replace it is with this new focus on what is that mentor role and how can we get our new instructors up and running as quickly and as possible. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought that was a big clarification, Bridget.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. Yeah, that's a big one to make sure it's clear. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so 700 if it's a blended virtual, or 800 then if it's fully in person and you've got a new person that's in their 3 classes, right? Their 3 free classes, so to speak. Solo classes, again, are not going to happen very often. But if they do, if they're taught if it's a blended course, it's going to be $600. If it's fully in person, it's going to be $700. That $100 remains for the host referral. That process that is still there. For the teen instructors, again, it's $100 per session up to a 1 hour session, and then $200 for sessions lasting 90 to 120 minutes. Their schedule, their timing is a little bit different than the regular classes. That's why it looks a little bit different. Mileage again remains 200 miles, and it's going to be at capped at 200 miles at 55 cents per mile. Overnight travel is extremely limited. Again, requires prior approval. Any administrative work, anything that happens, any work before or after the class, post-it notes, markers, pens, copies, etc. That's all included in this reimbursement rate. There's no additional money being put out, so to speak. Again, number 3 then speaks to the fact that there are the costs are covered. Then no other cost is being put out by the instructors. Here's where you're going to upload your W-9 right there and your resume right here on your contract. So nice and easy, nice and clean, get it all done in one place. Your signatures, either of yourself or your organizational representative, whoever's appropriate, and then submit. So that is our new MOA. And we can take questions now, or we can wait until the end. Janet, what do you prefer?
I think questions now, and I'd love to have somebody put the link so that you guys can download the link and we can start filling that MOA out now if you're planning on being part of our July 1st project. We would love to have all you guys part of the project. So Lucas, can you do that? Or
I have it right here.
Okay.
I can go ahead and put it in.
Put it in the chat, and then we'll be emailing this and putting this on Connect Team and Trello and everybody, because this is really the first step of rejoining the network as of July 1st. So.
Yeah, what questions do you guys have? There's my graphic.
You want to show? I was going to say, you want to show your other pretty slide and that pretty. I love the little pilot guy taking off, ready to lead.
He's pretty cute. So any questions right now?
I do like your I like that slide. It was definitely very nice. I like it, Bridget. Yes, it was very worth showing it. I do have one question. You mentioned that there won't be as many opportunities to teach solo as before. Is there a reason why that's the option? Because once again, I see the pricing has changed. It's a lower price. $500 is not a lot of money for all the work that a lead instructor has to do, especially beyond the person in those 3 unpaid courses. After those 3 courses, with that new person has reached their limit, it changes. And so $500 is not a lot of money to do with all of the work that you do as a lead instructor, including all the stuff that I buy a lot of stuff for my classes. So my classes are very entertained. Like, I make sure people have fidget spinners and stress balls. I do coloring. I do a whole bunch of stuff for my trainers too. And I pay for a lot of that out of, some of my money. So just a question, like, what's going to be the criteria to do solo trainings?
Do you want me to jump in, Bridget, or you?
Yeah, if you want
to. So really, we're looking at sustainability of the project, because we're expecting to be around for years to come. And we looked at our data, and over half of our classes were taught by our master instructors. And so we want to get the other 110 people really more engaged, more involved, more opportunities to teach. Because what we don't want is that, we have 20 people that teach over and over and over again, and that's not sustainable. And you guys are going to burn out. We're going to put you, some of you guys are teaching so much, I'm worried that you're going to burn out and go like, this is just too much. So the idea is that all the people that are either new or kind of on the margins of our project, we get them more engaged. So you'll see we're talking about that a lot. How do we engage instructors and how do we keep them engaged? Because right now we have 3 projects, but a year from now we could have 7 projects going. So we want to make sure that we have the best instructors, the most prepared instructors, the most up-to-date instructors, and we support them so that no matter how many classes we're running, there are people out there that's ready and willing to teach. So that's the main reason is for sustainability and for growth. Does that make sense, Yolanda?
I mean, yeah, it definitely makes sense. I'm just still concerned. I know you talk about, of course, the growth, but there's a lot of contracts out here to teach mental health first aid to pay a lot more money. That have a lot of great instructors. And it just has to be weighed based on whether or not this is, as a master instructor doing this, I love this. This is my passion. But $500 is not a lot of money for my time. Because once again, this can take some hours to put this stuff together. And then it's still like, I still have people contacting me from after trainings for months about stuff. And so we're great, or we're good because of what we do. And so I definitely agree that you want to definitely have growth. But everybody doesn't grow the same. And we do a lot of training. I know when me and Bridget first started, we did so many of them daggone trainings because me and Bridget, we just were good. We didn't have a lot of good brand new instructors. As hard as we worked to get some of them up and running, they were just not prepared to train the audience. So I think that becomes the issue. Like faith-based communities, you can't put anybody in a faith-based community because some of that information that they ask or questions they bring up about faith, a lot of folks end up deferring to me. If that's always going to be the case, I'm not quite sure that's a good place for someone to be who's not in that arena. Even like veterans, I've taught a lot of veteran trainings. If you're not prepared for those veterans, they will eat you alive in those type of trainings.
I see exactly what you're saying, Yolanda. And I think that's why we want the co-instructors to work with the mentor instructors to kind of learn those things. Because if we only have 5 instructors that feel comfortable teaching veterans, for example, again, not sustainable. So we're really trying to give opportunities for every instructor that wants to teach more opportunities to teach with somebody. And then every time you guys teach with somebody else, you learn a little bit more. So that's why we're sort of trying to stay away from solo instructors, and we're trying to pair people up so that they learn from each other and they keep growing in their skills. So, but I hear you. Yeah, it's funny because Stacy's been teaching for a lot of outside contractors of, from across the nation. And so far, Stacy, I think we're the one that pays the most, right?
So far you are.
Yeah, so I know there's a wide gamut of how much instructors get paid. But that's sort of, we have to work within the budget constraints of what our funders give us. And that's kind of where we landed. So it is a little different than this time, but we are happy that if it's a fully in-person class, that 8.5 hour day, that at least we get to bump that up $100 per class. So hopefully that's a good thing.
Yeah. Any other questions on the contracts right now? Again, it will be able to answer too, and at the end too. I think we'll go on to Janet. Do you want to go over we're going to go over just real quickly the email templates, because Layla, sorry, Layla, you have a question.
I'm sorry, I don't even know if it's like all the way on subject, because you
No,
talked
that's
about
right.
you talked about teen facilitating teen mental health. I have the certification, and I know you mentioned like if you receive the funding from you guys to teach, then there's that process. But what about individuals that already have the certification and I'm just kind of looking for opportunities to facilitate it? Are those available, or how would I go about pursuing those?
Yeah, so Keith and Lisa's on this call if you want to speak to this, but we have not started teaching those classes. That will start in the fall school year. And Layla, I know they're looking for people that are already certified in teen mental health first aid in Ohio, so that you are definitely on their list.
Thank
Right?
you.
I'll jump in, Janet. We are currently recruiting schools, and so we're looking to see how many kids we will be serving over first semester and second semester of next year. And that will help determine how many instructors we need to bring on board. But we are, like Janet said, we are literally collecting names of people who are already certified in teen mental health first aid, and then we'll be reaching out to you once we have a better sense of how many additional instructors we're going to need.
But if you are, like you'll have to do it virtually because this is really, well, it is in Cincinnati right now. because I know you live way up there on the other side of Ohio, right, Layla? So you,
Yeah, I'm in Bedford.
yeah, if schools choose the virtual option, I could see you definitely teaching. And you wouldn't have to pay anything back because we didn't pay for you to become a teen mental health first aid instructor, if that makes sense.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So right now, the Hamilton County schools in the Cincinnati area will all be in person, but we're generating a lot of interest. And so I think this is going to springboard lots of other opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna look for more statewide funding. So eventually it might be across the state, but right now we're just piloting in Hamilton County.
Yeah.
Bridget, you want me to jump into new email
Yeah.
templates? Okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna share your
Let me-
screen and I'll
I
kind of,
will. Yep. Let me pull up the new email templates here.
and you guys all saw the chat has the MOA contract if you're interested in joining us in July. So thank you for filling that out. So these new email, we have been tweaking these email templates for 3 years now, and every once in a while we see a master instructor, one of you guys put something in their template, their emails to the host or to the learners, and we're like, ooh, that's a really good idea. We want to steal that idea. So I don't know, a few months ago, we had all the master instructors and we got them together and we said, like, what is it that we need to improve for this upcoming project year? And a lot of it was the talk was about how do we communicate with these learners so that we give them the facts, but we don't overwhelm them. And we also get them excited about coming to the class. Why is it important to take mental health first aid? What are you going to learn? How is it going to, how is it going to benefit you as a learner? So after all those back and forth from our master instructors and ideas that they saw was effective for them, our wonderful Pat Clark sat down and really took their ideas and came up with some of these little tweaks of our template emails. So we're going to start using those now. We don't have to wait till July 1st to use those, but they're on the Trello board. And I just want to point out a couple of things. A lot of it is about the same, just maybe reworded a little bit shorter or a little more concretely. You'll see there's a little bit of difference, but there is a couple of new things that I want to point out. On the 1 week prior email that the instructors send the learners, one of the masters, and I think it was Ruth and maybe Jeremy, a couple of them talked about, we think it would be helpful for the instructors if we asked learners, what are you expecting to learn from this class? Because a lot of the masters, they wanted to know what specific things should I focus on when I'm delivering the information to this group of people. And so in the host outreach form, we've added a class when we have the outreach meetings and we say, is there a specific thing you want us to focus on? Or is there a specific situation that just happened to your organization that our instructors need to know? And so as we post classes, that kind of information will start showing up. So we just asked, like, let's see, how was it? Can you read that, Bridget? I'm curious about that one. I can barely see it. So.
Yeah, sorry. I'm curious what you're hoping to learn when we meet on the date and time. Feel free to share your thoughts with me so I can better prepare for your class. Do you have any specific concerns or topics you would like addressed?
Okay. So that really is a new question. I'm just curious to see, like, is that too overwhelming for you guys? Do you like it? Does it really help you tailor your instruction to this group of people? The other question, I have that in the highlighted. I'm glad I can see that, because my question is to you. This is a Jeopardy question. If you are taking a fully in-person class and you do your opinions quiz and you do your other quick exam, what does your Connect team, your Connect percentage show? If you're taking blended, I know it says 69% and then you're done. But every fully in-person class I pull up, it's 100% done or 0% done. So does anybody know the answer to that?
I think it's 42%.
I'm going with that, 42%.
Thank
All
you.
right, we would
Thank you,
change that
Robin.
because I'm like, I just could not find that out. Like none of my classes I could pull up could have that anyhow.
Wait, what was the question?
So if you're teaching it fully
40%.
in person and you're doing your pre-work, which is only like 5 minutes, you do your pre-opinions quiz.
Oh, the fully in person. Yeah.
Yeah. What does it show in Connect that you are done and you're waiting for that you're up to the ILT module.
I think it is 42%, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
40 or
guys.
40 yeah, it's either 40 or 42%, but it's
It's
around
somewhere in
that.
the 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 46. I can't think of it, but it's in the 40s.
All
Yeah,
right.
you're
Well,
right. It's in the 40s.
if anybody knows that for sure, put it in the chat because we need to change that because I was like, we just can't find that out.
Yeah, I have a class Friday, so I can tell
Yeah,
you for
test
sure.
that out for me. Let me know because I'm like, I don't want to confuse people. You know how people are very sticklers about. Mine's only 44% and it's supposed to be 46%. What have I left to do? So, all right, thank you for that. The other big thing, and it's really more from the coordinator thing, the very last template email, somebody came up with the idea that we need to give them a graphic that they can post on their social media channels and their website and send out an email and basically said, my organization just took mental health first aid. Yay. We want to really use their networks to market what mental health first aid is and what the benefits are. So the coordinator is going to start attaching that graphic. And Bridget, I think you can open that up if you want to click
Yeah.
on the live link.
Yeah, I'll close and because otherwise it won't open for me. But yeah, I'll open
Yeah,
it.
that is weird.
And I just checked this, actually 43%.
Thank you.
43%. Oh, that's awesome. All right, we will change that. Yeah, so it's just a simple graphic, but our host organizations are asked now to debrief their classes. And so we just want to like plant the idea in their head that, hey, you can let people know that you guys did a great thing. You just hosted a class for 30 plus people and you should get some love out of this too. So anyhow, that's the only really new thing on our template emails that we're going to add as of today. Is there anything else I'm missing, team, that we want to focus on? The only other thing that I could think of is that we seem to be adding the co-instructor emails into our template emails more than I used to see. And it just seems to me that it just gets more complicated because then the learner emails the lead instructor, the co-instructor, the host, and like it just, it can go sideways pretty quickly. So my suggestion is that we don't put the co-instructor email into any of the emails until the day after. And then you say, hey, Bridget and I are really excited that we got to teach you yesterday and da-da-da-da-da. So that's the only other thing that I think is there's a note in those template emails. It really should just be the lead instructor and the coordinator that learner has to work with.
You could blind copy the just so they see them.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, just, because the more people that get involved, I know you guys have seen this, more people that get involved in answering questions and, the more complicated it is. So I'd rather have the lead instructor answer all the questions if possible.
But I mean, I don't think it's as big of a problem if the co-instructor is just CC'd for their information. They shouldn't be listed in the email as someone to contact for the pre-work and stuff, but not when you're a co-instructor and you have zero communication about what's happening with the class, or if you really, it's not okay feeling like you're in a black box.
Yeah.
So I would prefer as a when I am a to be CC'd on all the communication. So I am aware of like what's gone out, what people expect. They're not typically replying to me. They're not asking me anything as a They do reply to the lead, but I don't think it's a good idea to not have the informed that the communications have happened.
Yeah, and that you're right, Carrie. Let me back up. So the should be on the listing of the people that get like the calendar invite and the emails, but they shouldn't be the ones to sign at the bottom and say, this is Bridget and I together are going, here's both of our emails as before the class. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, just because, I've seen it go
Gotcha.
sideways real quick. And it's just like the least people involved to answer questions. It seems to go smoother that way. But yeah,
Okay.
You're right. The should definitely be either BCC'd or CC'd in all the emails so that they feel like they know what's going on. You're right.
Perfect. That makes sense.
So they're on the Trello board. If you guys poke around and you see a typo, if you see something, let me know. Or if there's something that you have used and you really, really think that helps get people to the class, shoot me an email because we're always tweaking those things. So, but right now, as of today, we're going to start using these new template emails. Anything else? I'm looking at the chat. Hey, I think that's all the questions on the chat. Does anybody have any other questions about the email template? The help guides are about the same, but the email templates have changed a little bit, and they're all in one document that you have with a table of organization that you can click right on that and go right to your template email. So try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to follow and use. So all you have to do is copy and paste it. And then, you know, that was the goal. All right, Bridget.
Yeah, I think still just be careful though, because you know, as always, I mean, you just always have to be real careful as you're, you know, as you're looking at those, that you're not grabbing the, you know, the blended or the virtual or the full in person, you know, because they are now in one document, you know, sometimes it can be a little bit more confusing. It just kind of depends on how your brain works, I think. You know, because they're now all right there. Terry, did you have a question? I think are you unmuted? Oh, no, you're not unmuted. Sorry. Go ahead. All right, Janet's going to unveil our new scheduling process.
Actually, there's a video if you want
that's
to play
right.
that link, that because there was so much. I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything, so I recorded it yesterday. So, but are you guys happy that Connect Team is going away as of July 1st? Is that a good thing? I've just seen so many people struggle, and you could tell exactly how many people like logged on, and it wasn't very many. So we're saying bye-bye to Connect Team. While Bridget's looking that up, I am going to put a link to join this the new scheduling Trello board in the chat so that you guys can join it today.
There we go. Okay, all right, I think I've got it here. All right, sorry about that.
Hello,
okay,
instructors and coordinators. Welcome to the
Sorry.
gathering, or if you're watching this.
Let me try this. Just a moment here.
Because you couldn't
Make sure you
attend,
take a share
hopefully this
sound.
will help. We are launching a Trello scheduling board that will take the place of our Connect Team software. So as of August 1st, we will no longer be posting classes for you guys to bid on Connect Team. You won't get notifications from Connect Team. Connect Team will be gone. In June and July, we're going to transition. So June, and we're going to pilot this scheduling board, and we're going to post on Connect Team as well. We're going to make changes based on what you guys are telling us, what you like and what you don't like. As of July, we're going to go through a second pilot. Like, this is really, you know, when it's tweaked, this is what we're going to land on in July. And then as of August 1st, it's only going to be give you guys the opportunity to post on bid on shifts on this Trello board. So Connect Team will be a thing of the past. You will never have to get another notification from Connect Team after August the 1st. So that's good news. So today I'm going to tell you how it's set up now. You guys are actually observers. So you could see on this list, we have an observer and we have members and we have an administrator. So the observers can only post comments and they can only watch cards. So you guys don't have to worry about messing up the cards or moving things or just, you know, changing key data that the coordinators are going to create. You're going to be invited to join this board as an observer. And Lucas can put that link in the chat for our instructor gathering today, or we will be emailing it out to all of our instructors, just because we want to make sure that they know that we're changing from Connect Team to this Trelloing board so they can continue to bid on classes. So that's the plan for the transition. But the plan for the actual board, I'm going to go over, this is called a list on Trello, and then this particular individual thing is called a card. So I'm going to go over this card, and this is basically how to use this board. And at the bottom of the card, there's like little tips about how you guys can save time and how you can filter the cards and only put up the classes that you bid on or whatever. So we're going to start at the top. It's 8 steps from the very beginning to the host has decided on a date. We need an instructor to the class is over. So let's jump in here. I'm going to show you some example cards that we made up, but I'm basically going to use this 8-step process. So the first thing you do is you're a coordinator, and the coordinator is going to post all of our classes. So they're going to post ones that are unfilled where they're looking for an instructor, but they're also going to post ones that are filled. So for instance, if you filled out that host referral form, you brought the organization to us. Yes, you're interested in teaching. Yes, you're available that day. They already know who the instructor is. So they're going to post that in the filled column that you're going to see in a minute. But we're going to spend most of our time with the unfilled. So they have a class, they need 2 instructors. They're going to post it using a card that looks like this template. And they're going to add as many details as possible so that you guys can decide, yes, I'm really interested in teaching this group, or no, I think I'll pass and wait on another class. So let me pull up this template that they're going to post on. I'll show you an example. So on this template, you're going to see the date of the card. You're going to see that it's unfilled. There's going to be a map of the location if it's in person, so you can see how far away it is from your house, how many miles it is for you to drive. And then all the details are going to be in these, what they call custom fields. So the date, the time, the format, the audience. Here's a drop down of all the different audiences that we could be teaching. Here's the deadline to bid on that class. So the coordinators will say, usually it's 3 days after they post it, just to give you guys time to go check your schedules and make a decision. But sometimes it could be a really quick turnaround. It could be 1 day, or it could be 2 weeks, just depending on how quickly that class is coming up. Here's the host organization. Here's the details about the training room, coordinator, and the project. And then you guys are going to basically say, yes, I am interested in this class, kind of like we did on Connect Team. And Jessica, Michelle, Lucas, and Bridget, and MHFA Collaborative, which is really me, are all interested. And you're going to have the option of giving the coordinator as much possible as information as they need so they can make the best decision on which 2 of these wonderful instructors we're going to pick for this class, which is about the hardest thing that a coordinator does, is making that decision. So Lucas has said, hey, I'm 20 minutes away from this location, and I'm a member of the organization. So you're thinking, oh, they know the audience, they know the people, they would be a really good instructor. Bridget's like, hey, I'm a mentor for Lucas, and so if you can put us together, you can get him one of his classes that he needs to teach with a master instructor. And then I love Michelle's pick me. So you can whatever you want to put on these cards, so that when the deadline passes, that coordinator can go, okay, who has bid on these class? And based on all these different things, who are the 2 best people to be my lead and my co? So that would be step unfilled, post it. The instructors review the details and bid. And here's you guys are pleading your case if you really want to teach that class. The coordinators use this rubric. I want to show it to you. You can read it later, but basically it's 10 questions to ask yourself as a coordinator about who are the 2 best people to teach this class. So just as FYI, you guys are more than welcome to read that. And then after they pick, they're going to reply back to those 2 people, and they're going to say, okay, you guys won the bid, which is kind of Connect Team language. It basically means I picked you, and I'm going to show you on one of these cards what happens. So Lucas, lead, and Jessica, co, you won the bid for this class. Please accept her if you're able to teach. It should be a great class. And the people that are not accepted or did not win the bid to teach that class, the coordinator is also going to let them know. And if you notify them with the @ symbol on that particular card, they'll all get an email and be like, so sorry, that I picked a couple of other people for this class, but keep bidding on, future classes or whatever, however the coordinator wants to say it. So let's say the 2 people that they picked officially accepted the class. We're in, you can count on us. We're going to be there. It's in my schedule. The coordinator will move the card to this field class. And so field class is basically me. Yes, I found instructors. Here's Jessica and Lucas are going to teach on this class. And here's all the details about the class in case anybody needs to know. One of the benefits of using this Trello board is all of the project team can look on this card and go like, oh yeah, there's a class that I had a question about. I can look it up. I can pull up the roster. I can see the conversations back and forth. So I can help that coordinator, let's say if they're on vacation or whatever. I also think it's going to be really nice because this card is going to have all the back and forth that used to be by emails in theory. So the idea is that everything on this card, this is how you're going to communicate between especially the coordinator and the lead instructor. So just for example, you won the bid, yay. And then lo and behold, 3 more people want to be added to the class. The coordinator sends an email to or posts to the instructor. They get an email and they said, oh, I sent these 3 more people to connect. I sent them the calendar invite. Here's their names and emails, da, 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 da. And then the instructor's like, oh, got it. Let me add them to the roster. And then lo and behold, the host changes the location. And so there could be email thread about that. And then the instructor's like, I can't find the hallucinations. Can you help? And so these comments really could be anything about that class. It's just a good way to have everything in one card. And so the class happens, everybody's happy, the class is great. And then the last column that this class is going to be dragged to is going to be our completed class. So all the classes that have happened, we're going to have them in one place here. And then Lucas is going to note that this class happened. And then as soon as he pays that invoice that he gets from the National Council via the lead instructor, he's going to archive this. So we're going to have a real clear picture about what classes are paid and which classes are not, which really helps with the budget. And this card is going to be a way to keep that roster in one place. So everything is tight. You have everything on this card. So you'll see, for instance, that I uploaded a roster, just a sample of one Ruth taught, but basically it was supposed to be this roster on May 1st that Beth and Michelle taught. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to teach the class. So that's how we're going to set up this scheduling board with unfilled classes, filled classes, and then completed classes. And another kind of good thing about this paid account, this is our only paid account we have on Trello, is that you can pull up this calendar and you can see all the different classes we had. So here's the one that we just talked about on May 1st. And then there's one on July 1st. Here's this one. And then there's our August 1st one. So that's a nice feature for the paid account. And there's also different things that you can do about how to set your notifications. All these tips down here at the bottom of this list, I would highly suggest you guys to just glance at because it will save you time. Adding a member to the card, what does that mean? You can modify your notifications on your Trello board so you get notifications instantly, periodically, which is I think hour, and then never. So if you're one of the persons like, don't notify me about anything, I'm going to go physically check my Trello board like the 1st of every month to see what's posted, and then I'm going to bid that way. That's perfectly fine too. How to change labels easily, what observers are and how to invite observers. Like I said, this link on this card, Lucas is going to put in the chat so that you guys can join this board today, hopefully, or as soon as you get this email and review this video, because this is going to be the way that we are going to post classes. So we're hope that the intention is that this is easier for you guys and easier for the coordinators. Everything's in one place. It cuts down on emails and it avoids the confusion of what Connect Team brought to us when we tried to use it and really squeeze Connect Team into what our purposes were. So I hope you like it. If you have any problems or if you have suggestions, just feel free to shoot me an email. And then, like I said, we're going to be tweaking until we get it so that everybody's happy. So thanks for your attention. Bye.
For her video debut, wasn't that fabulous? Such a good job.
Nick, I'm glad I wore a different shirt today.
All right, so I think we will, I think we're gonna, just to kind of move through everything, just for time's sake, hold on to those questions, because I'm sure there's plenty, or put them in the chat box and we'll kind of keep answering them. But just for time's sake, I just want to kind of keep moving through, and then we'll hang around for questions also. In terms of updating, so if Connect Team is gone, that was one of the ways that we shared updates. So moving forward, how updates are going to happen is those are going to take place on the Trello board, on the original Trello board, so the old instructor support program, and I'll show you on here where you're going to find those. So again, just on this column here is where you're going to find updates, project updates. So it will be under this column is where you're going to see those. Those project updates will be on here, and the same tips that Janet shared in the video about how to get alerts. You can do that for the same Trello board too. Those same processes on how to get alerts. If you want alerted every time an update happens, or if you don't, you can do that. The next thing we're going to look at then, I think Stacy is going to share with us then some updates about our upcoming summit in September, which we are certainly very excited for as well.
Hello, everybody. Yep, we are excited that we'll be holding the MHFA Ohio Summit again at the Columbus Zoo. This year's date is Friday, September 18th or September 8th. I am putting the registration link in the chat box for everybody. We wanted to give all the instructors a couple of weeks kind of, head start before we open it up statewide, because we want our instructors to get the jump on it. We are still planning some of our sessions. One of the other things that I want to put in chat for everybody today is we are also opening up the nominations for our awards this year. Again, just like last year, we've got the Adult Instructor of the Year, the Youth Instructor of the Year, the Host of the Year, and the Advocate of the Year. And I will put that in chat as well. I'll also be putting these on Connect Team in the updates, at least for now, while we still have Connect Team. The other thing I wanted to ask about is we want to kind of change up the awards we give out. We've given out different awards. We've done the metal name tags, we've done the microphones. So I wanted to ask everybody if you had ideas for the kind of awards we could give out this year. We're shooting to spend about $50 for each of our award winners. So if you guys have any ideas, you can throw those in the chat and I'll write them down for us to discuss at one of our team meetings coming up. The last thing I wanted to bring up is that in one of our last sessions of the summit, we're looking to hold discussion tables where we're going to focus on different target groups within MHFA. And let me throw the list into chat as well. And we are looking for table leaders for this session. And what these table leaders will be doing is presenting information on each of these groups about how to better connect MHFA with these groups, presenting statistics on the groups as well. And we just want the table leader to do that for about 5 minutes. And then for the next 5 minutes, facilitate a Q&A at their table. And then after that, everybody attending will switch to a different table for another group that they're interested in learning more about and discussing. So you can see in chat, we've got about 10 different groups that we want to create tables for. And if you're really interested in one of these groups and kind of feel strong, and well-versed and well-knowledge in one of these groups and want to be a table leader, shoot me a message, because we're also going to waive the registration fee for whoever the table leaders are as well. So we'd love to have some folks, sign on to lead some of these. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask or throw them in chat. And with that, I'll hand it back to Bridget.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Stacy. Yeah, it's going to be great. Again, this year, just like last year, we are opening the summit up to mental health first aiders as well. So not only are we going to have, not only is this for instructors, it's also for host organizations and advocates, as well as for the first aiders themselves. So please do, as you are out doing your trainings, be sure to remind and invite your attendees, your learners, that, hey, we have a summit coming up September 8th. They are invited. Of course, the information is going to be on the Facebook page, but we want to promote it as well in our classes because we want it to be an opportunity for them to remain engaged as well. Oh, thank you, Stacy, for all your work on that. All right, so a few more announcements that I want to share with you. Of course, we've got Tyria here. Fabulous. Fabulous. One more picture from NatCon, which was great. I loved that excitement in her there. So a few more announcements to make. Jay Hayes, big shout out to Jay for incredible work and volunteering his time to do the adult full in-person modeling videos. Actually, it's sections 1 through 5. So big shout out to him. Big thank you for that. Those are posted on Trello board now. So for the remaining 6 through 10, essentially the full in-person adult is the blended. So you just pop in and look at the blended part. But those are on Trello now, and the youth is coming. Those will be available. I put this reminder on here. Don't forget, when you run out of things to do in your life, take a look at the post evaluations. I put them on Trello. What are your participants getting quizzed on? Because they're not the knowledge check questions. They are different. Again, I put them on Trello board. It's helpful to know, I think, as the instructor, to know what does the quiz look like. Again, I posted on the Trello board so we know. It's under instructor resources alphabetically so that we know to make sure that we're highlighting and emphasizing those key questions as they come, so that our learners are obviously, doing as well as they can on those post evaluations. Some upcoming dates that are going to be important. June 13th, again, we have Autumn Real, one of our instructors. She is going to be leading a virtual lunch and learn for instructors on de-escalation strategies that can be shared with learners. She is a police officer, and she is going to share her wisdom and subject matter expertise with us. So again, June 13th, 12 to 1, that link is in Connect Team. I will say, in terms of updates, we are going to continue to post in Connect Team through August. I'll just start posting in both places. So just so you know, just so we can get used to that transition. And then July 5th is another important date, is our next virtual lunch and learn for first aiders, and that's led by Beth. Again, we had a great attendance last time. Janice Wright, one of our instructors, thank you, Janice, did a fabulous presentation for us with, I think, over 60 attendees. So that was great to see. So and all the instructors are welcome to come as well. In fact, we encourage that because it makes for great discussion. And if you're interested in ever facilitating any of those, we very much invite you to do that as well. Next instructor gathering, if you want to save the date for this, because again, as we mentioned, these are required. You got to come to these. August 9th, Wednesday, August 9th, 12 to 1:30. If you can't make it, it will be recorded. And then you'll just sign off on this new ed puzzle that you did watch the full recording. I do want to leave our last at least a minute here for as well any celebrations. Before we get into question and answer, does anybody have any celebrations that they want to share? Any recent wins?
I just want to give a shout out to Beth. It's her 2-year work anniversary as of today. 2 years.
Happy to be here.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, Janice, you're going to be retiring from your day job in August. All right. Congratulations. That's exciting. Hopefully you really retire and not just like some of these people who you retire and never really leave. Hopefully you actually get to do it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, Rich, we're looking at you. We're looking right at you. All right. All right, well, good. Well, thank you, everybody. And again, so I guess with that, what questions do you guys have? Because I want to just be respectful of everybody's time and be mindful. So we're here. We're going to be here until the last person leaves. But here with any questions, and of course, always thank you guys so much for all the work that you guys do. But what questions can we answer for you? Anybody on timing or the new scheduling process? The new MOA? It's all clear as mud for all of us. Excellent. Then you guys can all explain it to me. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your time. It is much appreciated, and for all that you guys are doing. Clear as Mississippi. I like it. All right. Well, you guys know where to find us as always. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And everybody have a wonderful day and enjoy some sunshine.